Avadutam Parijana Chaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Rajita Sri Vishakan Vatamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranavami Haripriye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you for joining for today evening, reading from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 30, the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So right now, we are also doing some activities under the influence of time, but that is binding us to the three modes of material nature. The more we spend time in these activities, the more we get bound in the three modes. The three modes produce duality, and that is the problem. Whereas here we see transcendental pastimes. So for them, time is completely under their control, and it is increasing their bliss only. All the time, bliss is increasing. Radha and Krishna, the Krishna and his energy. How Krishna is happy. So when we hear about this, we also feel inspired to participate in those pastimes. The difference between ordinary religious activity and devotional service is very great. The religious activity means whatever we believe, we follow that. Even an atheist also, his religion is that there is no God. So accordingly, he is engaging in some activity. That is his religious activity. Whichever he believes, according to that belief, he does some activity, that is religious activity. But the devotional service is far, far beyond. By executing religious rituals, one can achieve economic development, sense gratification, or liberation, merging into the existence of the Supreme. So some people want to engage in karma yoga or fruitive activity, that is economic development, dharma, artha, kama, sense gratification, and personal liberation, to think that I am spirit soul. But the results of transcendental devotional service is completely different from such temporary benefits. Now, all the benefits which you receive from these methods, we are never satisfied. So, the devotional service of the Lord is evergreen. It is ever fresh, new types of devotional service you can engage. And it is increasingly transcendentally pleasing. Why? Because Krishna is unlimited. By serving him in unlimited ways, his bliss increases, and that way our bliss also increases. Thus, there is a culpable difference between the results derived from devotional service and those derived from religious rituals. Mainly because who is the object of that service, that is important. And the great divine energy known as Jadadishtatri or Mahamaya. Adhishtatri means she is the controller, and Jada means material. The divine energy known as Jadithatri or Mahamaya, the superintendent of the material world, and the material departmental directors, the demigods, as well as the products of the external energy of the Supreme Lord, are but perverted reflections of the opulence of the Supreme Lord. So they are perverted in the sense they have the exact opposite effect. Just like an object is there, you take the mirror reflection, the left becomes right, the top becomes bottom. So like that, the demigods are actually order carriers of the Supreme Lord, and they help manage the material creation. So what the demigods doing? They're only managing the material creation, which is anyway temporary and with so much imperfections. So actually, God doesn't want to interfere in the activities of the material world. And some demigods want to have more control of this material world. So the Lord allows them to do that. The Brahma Samhita 5.4344, Supreme Lord, sorry, therefore, 52 and 49, it is stated that the workings of the supremely powerful Supreme Durga, Vivatti Durga, they are but Chayeva Yasya. uh, So she is like a shadow potency, or but shadow of the workings of the Supreme Lord. Just like an object is moving, the shadow also moves. Sometimes it appears shorter or longer or wider, but it has no substance. That the sun works just like the eye of the Supreme Lord, called a chakra it is called. So, and that Brahma works just like a jewel reflecting the light of the Supreme Lord. These are the functions of the demigods. One is Durga Devi, she is like the shadow of the, and then uh, sun is like the eye of the Supreme Lord in the sense that uh, sun is supervising the activities of this world. And Brahma's purpose is like the um, just like a jewel is there, it's reflecting light from the sun. So he appears to be the creator, but he is not the original creator. Thus, in the material world, all the demigods, as well as the external energy herself, the Devi, and all the different departmental directors are but servants of the Supreme Lord. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasabha Nritya is the original controller, original enjoyer. All others are only assisting him. In the spiritual world, there is another energy, the superior spiritual energy or internal energy known as Yogamaya. Just as we saw about Mahamaya, there is also Yogamaya, whose Lord's internal energy, which means it understands, it acts according to the desire of the Lord. Just as the Mahamaya acts according to the desire of the living entities in this material world, the internal energy acts according to the desire of the Supreme Lord. She also works under the Lord's direction, but in the spiritual world, when the living entity puts himself under the direction of the Yogamaya instead of Mahamaya, he gradually becomes a devotee of Krishna. So just like we are chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, we are putting ourselves in the under the direction of Yogamaya, Hare, Radharani, sound vibration. On the other hand, those who are after material opulence and material happiness place themselves under the care of the material energy, Mahamaya, or under the care of the material demigods like Lord Shiva. So here also there's a, just like we have Radha Krishna worship. Here Durga is there and her husband is there, Lord Shiva, Brahma, Saraswati. Like that we worship in this material world. Uh, so when we are interested in this material opulence and material happiness. So what's the problem? Just like a gold diamond is there, original diamond and artificial diamonds. And water in the desert. That is like a material happiness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, it is found that when the gopis of Vrindavana desired Krishna as their husband, they prayed to the spiritual energy Yogamaya, Katyayani, that is there, for the fulfillment of their desire. So in the Saptashati, it is found that King Surata and a merchant named Samadhi, being under the modes of material nature, worshipped Mahamaya for material opulence. Thus, one should not mistakenly equate Yogamaya with Mahamaya. So because people who are worshipping Yogamaya and people who are worshipping Mahamaya, they seem to be worshipping similar forms, but their objectives and process is totally different. Because the Lord is on the absolute platform, there is no difference between the holy name of the Lord and the Supreme Lord himself. Abhinnatva Nama Namina, because that is absolute. Absolute means there is no difference between name, form, qualities, and activities. There are many different names of the Supreme Lord, such as Paramatma, the Super Soul, Brahman, Supreme Absolute, Srishtikarta, the Creator, Narayana, the Transcendental Lord. So these are secondary names. Primary names means in relation with the devotees, in relation to pastimes. Secondary names means functional names. So Rukmini Ramana, the husband of Rukmini, Gopinatha, the enjoyer of the gopis, and Krishna. These are all primary names. In this way, the Lord has different names, and these names indicate different functions. So some names are in relation to his devotees, and some names are in relation to this function in this material world. The aspect of the Supreme Lord, the Creator, is different from the aspect as Narayana. So Narayana is beyond this material universe, and Vishnu, Mahavishnus, three Vishnus are there. They are in charge of this material worlds. Some of the names of the Lord as the Creator are concerned are conceived by materialistic men. So normally people talk about Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So this conception is for the materialistic men. One cannot fully realize the essence of the Supreme Personality Godhead by understanding his name as the Creator, because this material creation is a function of the external energy of the Supreme Lord. Although the Lord is the creator of this material world, he doesn't do it directly. He engages the service of this uh, Durga Devi, Lord Shiva, or Brahma. Thus, the conception of God as the creator includes only the external feature. So, external feature means by his external energy, all this creation, maintenance, destruction is going on under supervision of the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Similarly, they are the Gunavatara. Similarly, when we call the Supreme Lord Brahman, we cannot have any understanding of his six opulences. Our understanding of Brahman is, it is Saguna Brahman. Saguna Brahman means Brahman which has qualities. And Nirguna Brahman means people think that it has no qualities. But actually Nirguna means it has no material qualities. And we don't know that the Lord possesses the six opulences unless he makes his appearance in this material world. In Brahman realization, the six opulences are not realized in full, nor is there recognition of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. So, like the sun rays are there, from that we cannot understand about the sun planet or the living entities on the sun. Similarly, Brahman effulgence is the Sat feature, eternity feature of the Lord, but we don't have realization of the Chit and Ananda and form, Vigraha features. Therefore, Brahman realization is also not a complete understanding of the Supreme Lord, nor is Paramatma realization. Paramatma also is pertaining to this material world. He is just observing and sanctioning. It is not possible to have a relationship with Paramatma. Realization of the Super Soul, full realization of the Supreme Personality Godhead, for the all-pervading nature of the Supreme Lord is but a partial representation of the opulence. So only the Supreme Personality Godhead is displaying the six opulences to the fullest extent. Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Veerasya, Yashasasya, Jnana Vairagya. So even the transcendental relationship experienced by a devotee of Narayana is Vaikuntha is incomplete. So what about those who are able to go beyond this material universe and the Brahma Jyoti? They land up in the Vaikuntha planets. That's known as Haridham. But there also it is an awe and veneration, because devotees in that relationship cannot realize the relationship between Krishna and his devotees in Goloka Vrindavan. So at the most, they are in Santarasa. Santarasa means they are awe and veneration. They are not running in active service. Unlike in the other planets like Dwaraka, Mathura, and Vrindavan, there they have these other four relationships. Dasyarasa, Sakhirasa, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. The devotees of Krishna do not relish devotional service in Narayana because devotional service to Krishna is so attractive that Krishna devotees do not desire to worship any other form. So here two types of worship. Worship is for our benefit or worship for pleasing the Lord. One worship is to get benefits from the Lord. The other worship is to give pleasure to the Lord. And thus the gopis of Vrindavana do not like to see Krishna as Rukmini Ramana, the husband of Rukmini. That is for Dwarkavasis. Nor do they address him in that name. Because there also service attitude is there, but in awe and veneration, as they have the conception that God is supreme. In the Vrindavana, Krishna is addressed as Radha Krishna. Krishna, the property of Radharani, which means he becomes owned by someone else. He sells himself to Radharani and the gopis. Although the names Rukmini, Ramana, and Radha Krishna are on the same level in the ordinary sense, still in the spiritual world, these names indicate different understandings of various aspects of Krishna's transcendental personality. So just like sugarcane juice is there, the more you concentrate it, you get less quantity but high quality. So similarly, although this is also Madhurya Rasa in Radha, Rukmini Krishna, but Radha Krishna conjugal rasa is sweeter because it attracts Krishna more. Krishna desires that kind of relationship more. And so if one equates the name Radha Ramana or Radha Krishna with Rukmini Ramana, Narayana, or any other name of the Supreme Lord, he commits the fault of overlapping tastes. Overlapping taste means supposing you're eating some food, sweet is there, salty item is there, you cannot mix them and eat. So like that, even among sweets also, there are different gradations of sweets. So this is known as rasabhas, which is technically called rasabhas. Abhas means it's the shadow. It's not, you're mixing the mellows, transcendental mellows. It's neither liked by Krishna nor we get anything out of it. Those who are expert in discriminating, those who are expert discriminating devotees do not accept such amalgamations which are against the conclusions of pure devotional service. Because Krishna is so special, the way we relate with him also should be special. We cannot concoct our relationship with Krishna. Less intelligent men think such discrimination is bigotry. So they say, why are you making all these distinctions? All is one. Krishna, whether Krishna in Dwaraka, Krishna Mathura, Krishna Vrindavan, why do you distinguish? They're all same. So that is there because of the less intelligence. Just like some musicians are there, they can easily detect if the musical instruments are not in synchrony. Even slight variation is there, they will not like it. Now, although Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality Godhead, embodies all super excellence and beauty, when he is among the damsels of Raja, where he is known as Gopi Janavallabha, devotees feel that his super excellence and beauty have reached the highest perfectional state. The same person, Krishna, he just like the moon is there, it displays more brightness on the Paurnami than on the Amavasya, although both are moon only. The moon size has not reduced, moon's brightness has not reduced. But from our perception, it is less, much less. So depending on how we relate with the Lord also ye tamam prapadyante tamstateva bhajam. So the devotees cannot release the beauty of the Supreme Lord more than this. That is the highest. That is the what the Lord, the way he reciprocates with the residents of Vrindavana is the highest. And in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-6, it is confirmed that although Krishna, the son of Devaki, is the last word in super excellence and beauty, that is Devaki Krishna is in Mathura. When he is among the gopis, he appears even more beautiful, like a sublime jewel set among divine golden craftsmanship. Still, gold jewelry itself are very attractive. But in that gold jewelry, you put some diamonds, then it becomes more valuable and attractive. Similarly, although Lord Chaitanya accepted this as the highest realization of Supreme Lord as conjugal lover, nonetheless requested Ramanandaraya to proceed further. In other words, there are in Mathura also people wanted to have Krishna as their husband. Dwarka also they were queens to Krishna. Vrindavan also they were gopis relating to Krishna. So all three are conjugal love only, but there are gradations. Same person is able to display more and more sweetness. So that's why Lord Chaitanya requested Ramananda Rai, who knew the science of devotion, to speak further and further. Because if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, people may not take it seriously. But if the devotee is also confirming what the Lord says, then people will take it more authentic. Upon hearing this request, Ramananda Rai remarked that this was the first time he had been asked to go further than the gopis' relationship with Krishna in the matter of understanding Krishna. So what he is trying to say is, even among the gopis, there are gradations leading up to Radharani. So this point, Ramananda Rai himself doesn't know. He knows that the highest is the relationship of the gopis with Krishna as compared to the queens of Dwaraka or the residents of Mathura. But Ramananda Raya went on to say that although there is certainly transcendental intimacy between the damsels of Braja and Krishna, out of all the relations, the relationship between Radharani and Krishna in conjugal love is the most perfect. Why? Because Radharani and Krishna are not different. Only Krishna can give pleasure to himself. So others are concerned their expansions of Radharani, expansion of the energies of the Lord. But here, energy and energetic. No. In other words, um, we're trying to express the greatness of Krishna. Someone is dependent on someone is not so great. But if someone is able to get pleasure from himself, then he is the greatest person. So no common man can understand the transcendental flavor of the transcendental love between Krishna and the gopis. Normally, the highest pleasure we get in this world is between man and woman. And we generally try to equate the relationship of Krishna with the gopis, something similar to that. But we know very well that is not possible in this material world. Since we have no experience of the type of relation in the spiritual world, it is beyond our perception. What to speak of the ecstasy of transcendental love between Radha and Krishna? So even to understand the relationship between the gopis and Krishna, it is not possible. Even perfect brahmacharis like Narada Muni or Lord Shiva, they could also not take part in the Rasa Leela. So what to speak about understanding Radha Krishna relationship? But if one tries to follow in the footsteps of the gopis, he may become situated in the highest stage of transcendental love. So what does it mean, footsteps of the devotees, gopis? Unless they reveal to us the path towards them, eh, we can never approach them. So who follows in the footsteps of the gopis? The servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. So this is known as the descending process. Thus, one who wants to be elevated to this transcendental stage of perfection should follow in the footsteps of the damsels of Braja as an assistant maid servant of the gopis. Only by assisting someone can we understand the senior. We cannot, by trying to come to their level, we cannot understand. We have to take one step below. Just like current is there flowing from high potential to low potential, water also from higher altitude to lower altitude. Similarly, this knowledge also comes from higher to lower. The more we keep ourselves lower, the more the realization. Unlike in the material world, if you are lower down the ladder, you won't know much about what is happening above. Within the devotional, the more down you go, the more you realize. Lord Chaitanya exhibited the mood of Srimati Radharani when she contacted Krishna at Kurukshetra after he had come from Dwaraka. So in the Kurukshetra there was a solar eclipse and people went to take bath, basically the image. So at that time Brajabasis also came there and Krishna came from Dwaraka. And such so when Radharani was not happy to be with Krishna in Kurukshetra and the gopis wanted to bring him back to Vrindavan, that is the pastime of the Rath Yatra. Such transcendental love is not possible for any common man. Whoever thinks I am the man or I am the Purusha, he can never realize this. Therefore, one should not imitate the highest perfection stage exhibited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but if one desires to be in that association, he may follow in the footsteps of the gopis. So these gopis, they recommend something just like a whole pot of medicine is there. If we take the entire medicine, we may die. But the same medicine, you make it into small dose and take it, then it may be beneficial. So this, when following the footsteps of the gopis, then it means that we do devotion as per our capacity and as per the guidance of the higher person. In the Padma Purana, it is stated that just as Radharani is dear to Krishna, similarly, the pond known as Radha Kunda is also very dear to him. And so we find the nectar of instruction, the concluding verse says about Varsana. So in other words, Radha Kunda means what? Anything in relation with Radharani is very dear to Krishna. The water which was produced by Radharani and the gopis. And that Radharani is dearer to Krishna than all the other gopis. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, why? Because ultimately Radharani is not different from Krishna. It is also stated that Radharani and the gopis render the highest perfectional loving service to the Lord. So their love is unconditional, unmotivated. It's just for the pleasure of Krishna. And that the Lord is so pleased with them that he does not wish to leave the company of Srimati Radharani. So just like the shadow never separates itself from the object, uh, so Radharani can never leave the company of Krishna. Even if they leave, it is only for increasing their affection. Now, when Lord Chaitanya heard Ramananda Rai speak of the loving affairs between Radha and Krishna, he said, please go further, go on and on. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. So only he can know about Radha Krishna. So he is motivating Ramananda, he is speaking through Ramananda Rai for our benefit. Because if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself keeps on talking all this, people will not take it seriously. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks through Ramananda Raya, through Haridas Thakur, then we think, okay, they are also like us. So if they themselves are talking, then there's something within our reach. And so the Lord also said that he was enjoying with great relish the description of the loving affairs between Krishna and the gopis. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna who appeared as in the mood of Radharani to understand the greatness of Krishna, the greatness of Radharani, and the pleasure which Radharani derives from Krishna. So it is as if a river of nectar is flowing from your lips. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is confirming to Ramananda Rai that he is going in the right direction and where he has to go further. He said, Ramananda Rai continued by saying that when Krishna danced among the gopis, he thought, I am not getting any special giving any special attention to Radharani. So here also in this material world, we give what ultimately we are concerned about ourselves only. Although we maintain so many relationships, the ultimate issue, everything is centered around ourselves. In the spiritual world, everything is centered around Krishna. So Krishna also gives more attention to his own energy. Because among the other gopis, Radharani was not so much an object of special joy. Now Krishna stole her away from the arena of the rasa dance and showed her special favor. Ultimately, Krishna is Atma Rama. He can be satisfied only by himself. So just like we want to be private sometimes, we want to think over what is happening in our life and to even to get some happiness. Sometimes we want to enjoy separately. Mm. So it's quite natural that Krishna wants to be with himself. And so after explaining this to Lord Chaitanya, Ramananda Rai said, now let us relish the transcendental loving affairs between Krishna and Radha. These have no comparison in this material world. So how we cannot participate in these pastimes, only our participation is by hearing about them. So through Ramananda Rai, Lord Chaitanya is trying to help us get a glimpse of what goes on between Radha and Krishna, because it is not at all available for people in this material world. Because all the news that we get in this world is the dealings between men and women, but are those produced by due to the relationship between men and women. The whole impetus for the material world is this relationship. So we want to know what is the relationship between Radha and Krishna, such that the entire spiritual world is maintained by their relationship. Now, so what does it mean to us, this Radha Krishna relationship? What is the benefit we are going to get by knowing about this? Because the entire spiritual world is centered around that relationship between Radha and Krishna. If that relationship is maintaining so many living entities for three-fourths and their perfect bliss, so it is definitely worthwhile to know why it is like that. And these have no comparison in this material world. In this material world, the man-woman relationship only splits our relationships. Supposing the mother is there, son is there. Once the son marries, then he neglects the mother. Like that, we see one relationship is at the expense of another relationship. Thus, Ramananda Raya continued by saying that during the Rasa dance, Radharani suddenly left the arena as if she were angry that no special favor was being shown her. Everywhere you come across the word Radharani, understand in terms of Krishna. Krishna himself feels that just like we have different emotions, sometimes we think in one way, next moment we think another way. So, similarly, Krishna feels that Krishna was desirous of seeing Radharani in order to fulfill the purpose of the Rasadam, but not seeing Radharani there, he became very sorrowful, went to search her out. Just like we try to do self realization, we want to realize ourselves. Krishna also wants to know about himself and his energy, Radharani. In the Gita Govinda, there is a nice verse which states that Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, wanted to be entangled in loving affairs with women and thus simply took Radharani into his heart and left the company of the other damsels of Braja. So wherever we come across Krishna, Gopis, Radharani, we have to understand it is all his energies only. Here, man is trying to go after woman who is all external manifestations of the external energy. But it is because the Lord possesses these internal energies, his going after his energies is nothing wrong. It is he's the rightful claimant of that. Just like if you have so many properties, you go around visiting all those properties and seeing that it is an order and what pleasure you can get out of it. Similarly, the next verse describes how Krishna was very much afflicted by Radharani's absence and being thus distressed in mind, began to search her out along the banks of the Yamuna. Failing to find her, he entered the bushes of Vrindavana and began to lament, just as we do soul searching to find out what are we trying to do, who am I, and what is my relationship with others. So Krishna is also looking for a relationship with Radharani. Ramananda Rai pointed out that one who discusses the purport of these two special verses in the Gita Govinda can release the highest nectar of Radha and Krishna's loving affairs. So what is the problem with us is we are enamored by the relationships in this material world. We become so much engrossed in the relationships in this world that we are not able to proceed further. Just like Arjuna was bewildered in the battlefield of Kurukshetra because of his relationships based on the body. But when we try to understand the relationship between Radha and Krishna, then we can understand the greatness of Krishna, and we may not directly enter into those pastimes. But it is down the line, wherever we have to do our service, we do it properly. Uh, Everything in this world is connected ultimately to Radha Krishna pastimes. But we cannot go and disturb those pastimes, staying where we are. Supposing I'm doing this program here, the electricity board is also serving me by doing their job. If they are not helping me, I cannot do this program. So like that, we may not participate in the Radha Krishna pastime, but staying where we are, if we do something under the guidance of the spiritual master and according to scriptures, then ultimately it goes to serve to Radha and Krishna. And although there were many gopis to dance with Krishna, especially, so what is dancing with Krishna? Dancing means dancing for the pleasure of Krishna, which means doing as per Krishna's desire. Right now we are also dancing, but dancing under the control of the three modes of material nature. Krishna wanted to dance with Radharani. So here dancing means uh, understanding the needs of Krishna, the mood of Krishna, and acting according to that. In the Rasada, Krishna expanded himself and placed himself between every two gopis. Why Krishna has to dance with so many gopis? To give pleasure to the gopis, and the gopis are trying to give pleasure to Krishna. So this competition is going on. And but he was especially present with Radharani. Just like we have the 108 beads in our chanting mala. So Krishna bead is there, that is the central bead. And then you have 108 beads. That 108 beads, the first 8 beads are gradually reducing in size. Finally, it comes to the last bead, small bead. So this the biggest bead next to the Krishna bead is representing Radharani, and the next 7 beads are the Ashta Sakis. However, Radharani was not pleased with Krishna's behavior. As described in the Ujjvala Neelamani, the path of loving affairs is just like the movement of a snake. Just like in this material world, also we see so many twists and turns in the relationship between man and woman. They bring out so many movies to show how this the love between a man and woman is going through so many ups and downs, and they feel more intimacy because of that. Similarly, in the spiritual world also, there is no straight path. That's why you see in the Radha Madhav deity, he's holding on to one stick, and the stick is also crooked. Uh, the path of loving is just like the movement of a snake. So why the snake goes like that? Because nobody can predict uh, where it is trying to go. Uh, any among young lovers, there are two kinds of mentality: causeless and causal. So causal means there's a purpose for loving someone. I love someone so that I will get something. Causeless means it is only one-sided. You are just giving, giving, and giving. Thus, when Radharani left the arena of the Rasa dance out of anger and not receiving special treatment, Krishna became very sad because he could not see her among the other gopis. Radharani is only giving herself to Krishna, and Krishna also wants to give himself to Radharani. So when he sees that there's no one ready to, no recipient for his love, then he also feels something lacking. The perfection of the rasa dance was considered complete due to Radharani's presence. In other words, whatever relationships are in this world, they are incomplete without Radha Krishna relationship, or if you don't realize the relation between Radha and Krishna. So there are so many mantras. The mantras are meant to regulate our mind. The ultimate Mahamantra is the one which is relating Radha and Krishna. And in her absence, Krishna considered the dance to be disrupted. Therefore, he left the arena to search her out. There's only Krishna's energy only can act according to Krishna's desire. The external energy is acting according to our desire. When he could not find Radharani after wandering in several places, he became very distressed. So there's a difference between Krishna becoming distressed and our becoming distressed. Krishna's distress, it produces bliss. Even though it is temporarily distress, that distress becomes the cause for bliss. In our case, distress and happiness come alternatively so that we get some relief, that's all. But the distress remains like that. Thus, it is to be understood that Krishna could not enjoy his pleasure potency even in the midst of all the other gopis. But in the presence of the Radharani, he was satisfied. So Krishna also has his privacy, just as we want to enjoy something in private. Uh, Similarly, Krishna gets pleasure from himself in the form of Radharani, which nobody else can. Uh, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. When this transcendental love between Radharani and Krishna was described by Ramananda Roy, Lord Chaitanya said, because what is happening is in this world, one person has his love divided among many people. If he loves a person A, he cannot give love to B. So therefore, there is always some disparity. But when Krishna is with Radharani, everyone benefits. Complete satisfaction comes to us when Krishna is satisfied. That's why the other gopis also know that Krishna is most happy when he is with Radharani, and they try to bring Radharani and Krishna together, and from that they get pleasure. So when this transcendental love between Radharani and Krishna was described by Ramananda Rai, Lord Chaitanya said, I came to you to understand the transcendental loving affairs between Krishna and Radha. And now I am very satisfied that you have described them so nicely. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he left Jagannath Puri and he went all over South India. And as he was going, he came across this Godavari bank where he was told to meet Ramananda Rai by Sarva Bhattacharya in Jagannath Puri. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why he went to South India? He went, one purpose is to propagate the holy name to all the living entities. At the same time, he was going in search of himself. You know. So someone, just like Hanuman was there, when he heard someone telling about his strength, then he could know that he could do it. Similarly, someone had to tell Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come as a Gupta avatar, which means he is forgotten that he is Krishna, so that he can give himself to others. So someone is needed to remind him about Radha Krishna, and that was done by Ramananda Rai. Because Ramananda Rai is also Lalita Shakya, I think, incarnation of Lalita Shakya and Arjuna. And now I am very satisfied that you have described them so nicely. I can understand from your version that the highest loving state is that between Krishna and Radha. Yet Lord Chaitanya still requested Ramananda Rai to explain something more. Because only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows what is that more. That is the highest thing because he is Krishna. But he wants Ramananda Rai also to realize that. Through Ram, just like Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna so that we can benefit. So he is speaking to Ramananda Rai or Das Thakur so that we'll get the benefit. What are the transcendental features of Krishna and Radharani? And what are the transcendental features of the reciprocation of the feelings, and what is the love between them. So that was the purpose of his descent. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's purpose of his descent is to know about Krishna. Knowing about Krishna means knowing about Radharani's energy. And then knowing next thing is uh, what is the relationship with Radha and Krishna, how pure it is, and then what is uh, the happiness they get from that. If you kindly describe all this to me, I will be very much obliged. Except for you, no one can describe such things. In other words, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling that only his most intimate associates can deliver us knowledge about him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has three and a half intimate associates. One is Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, Sikhi Mahiti, and Sikhi Mahiti's sister. So, Swarup Damodar would not allow anyone to compose uh, poetry which is not in line with the scriptures or mellows, dasabas. He would immediately point out some defects in the poetry. And I do not know anything, Ramananda Rai replied in all humility. That is a fact. Normally, when we don't know something, we won't want to say that. We somehow will try to make up for what we don't know. Dear Ramananda frankly said, I am simply saying what you are causing me to say. He realizes that Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langayati Giram, Yatripata Mahamati, Sri Gurum, Dinatavaram, Paramananda Madhavam, Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So he is now telling that I don't know, so you tell me, you speak through me, that I will get the benefit. I'm simply saying what you are causing me to say. So this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming to know that Ramananda Rai is not proud. He is humble. So he can tell more and more, reveal more and more to Ramananda Rai. I know that you are Krishna himself, yet still you are relishing hearing about Krishna from me. Just like Krishna, when he saw in a mirror his own uh, reflection, he became attracted to that. Similarly, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is hearing about Krishna from Ramananda Rai, he is getting more happiness. Therefore, please excuse me for my faulty expression. I am just trying to express whatever you are causing me to express. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, when he took sannyas, he gave the sannyas mantra to Keshav Bharati, and then Keshav Bharati whispered it back into Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ear, because Chaitanya is God himself. Who can give sannyas to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So I am a Mayavadi sannyasi, Lord Chaitanya protested. Why does he say I am Mayavadi sannyasi? Because he took sannyas initiation from Keshav Bharati, who comes in the Shankar Sampradaya. I have no knowledge. Why he took Mayavadi? Because people those days used to respect Mayavadi sannyasis. And I have no knowledge of the transcendental features of the devotional service. Indirectly, he is saying that the Mayavadi sannyasis have no knowledge of the transcendental features of devotional service. By the greatness of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, my mind has become clear, and I am now trying to understand the nature of devotional service to Lord Krishna. So why is he acknowledging Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya only told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to meet Ramananda Rai, and the Bhattacharya recommended that I see you in order to understand Krishna. Indeed, just like Lord Rama worshipped Shiva and Rameshwaram to glorify Shiva. Similarly, the Lord wants to glorify Arjuna, and he wants to glorify Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, glorify Ramananda Rai. So indeed, he said that you are the only person who knows something about love of Krishna. Therefore, I have come to you upon the recommendation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Please, then, do not hesitate to relate to me all the confidential affairs between Radha and Krishna. Indirectly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that whatever you are speaking is approved by me and blessed by me. In this way, Lord Chaitanya actually took the subordinate position between Ramananda Rai. This has very great significance. One who is serious about understanding the transcendental nature of Krishna should approach a person who is actually enriched with Krishna consciousness. So what will people normally do? They will think, Why I need a spiritual master? Why I need sadhu association? Why I should be in ISKCON? I can just go to Brindavan and I can, so many Radha Krishna temples are there, so many Babajis are there. But here Prabhupada makes an important point. One who is serious about understanding the transcendental nature of Krishna should approach a person who is actually enriched with Krishna consciousness. One should not be proud of his material birth, material opulence, material education, and material beauty, and with these things try to conquer the mind of an advanced student or Krishna consciousness. One who thus goes to a Krishna conscious person thinking that he would be favorably induced is under a misconception about this science. One should approach a Krishna conscious person with all humility, put relevant questions to him and not challenge him. Tad viddhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya. So, if one were to challenge him, such a highly elevated Krishna conscious person would not be available to receive any tangible service. A challenging puffed up person cannot gain anything from a Krishna conscious man because Krishna does not reveal himself to such a proud person. Even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made his descent, Advaita Acharya asked for two blessings. One is that you give your mercy to the most unqualified, and you don't give your mercy to those who are proud. So he simply remains in material consciousness. Although Lord Chaitanya was born in a high Brahmana family and was situated in the highest perfectional stage of sannyasi, he nonetheless showed by his behavior that even an elevated person would not hesitate to take lessons from Ramananda Rai, although Ramananda Rai appeared as a householder situated in the social status beneath that of a Brahmana. Therefore, it shows the importance of the parampara system. It's like the current is there coming to my house. I cannot go directly and connect to the powerhouse. I have to go through this step down process. So, because our capacity is very limited, we cannot go beyond our capacity. So, the best is Krishna Himself has designed the path by which it will lead to us. This mercy comes to us, and we have to accept that plan of the Lord. We cannot try to jump over all the arrangement made by the Lord. Krishna knows who's most dear. He can only tell who's most dear, more dear, dear. No? That's the Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter. Krishna is telling about who's most dear. So we cannot artificially jump that line. So it is best for us to know where we are situated and appreciate those who are above us and help those who are a little lower as a service to the Lord. So, so God may choose whom to give His mercy. That is His privilege. Thus, Lord Chaitanya clearly showed that a sincere student never cares whether his spiritual master is born in a high Brahmana family, a Kshatriya family, or whether he is a high grade sannyasi, a brahmachari, or whatever. Whenever, whoever can teach one about the science of Krishna is to be accepted as a guru. Iva Vipra, Iva Nyasi, Shudra Kenanaya, Sei Krishna Tattva Viveta, Sei Guru Hoy. What is saying Iva Vipra? Whether he is a Brahmana, Vivanyasi, whether he is sannyasi, Shudra Kenanoi, even he may be Shudra, Jai Krishna Tattva Veta, who knows the Krishna consciousness and truth, Say Guru Hoy. We have to accept that the God has made arrangement for all of us, but different ways. We have to accept that universe unity in diversity. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatarabhyascha Nirvashantam Sitaranam Pavanam Vaishnavam. Hare Krishna, so we're coming to the end of our reading sessions. We'll try to complete by Friday. Then Saturday we have the Bhagavad Gita course. And then announce I'm going to Mayapur November 1st, October 31st Sunday and returning on November 14th Sunday. So some devotees are joining me for part of the trip. As I said, now the 9 islands. Normally they do parikrama on some 7 or 8 days. So to visit all the pastime places. It's known as Navdeep Mandala. Beyond that is the Gaura which extended places even up to Orissa and Bangladesh and all these places. But that will take much longer. So Navdeep Islands, those places can be covered in 7 8 days. But because we use car and all these things, other means of transport, we can even do it faster in 5 days. One day will be required to go to Nityananda Prabhu's birthplace, go and come. So that is 6 days. Then you're traveling from Calcutta and back, that's another one day, 7 days. If you spend 7 full days, you can cover completely these places. Then want to do Puri and other places and another 7 days. So the more you give time to Krishna, the more you get back. There's no loss.
Prabhuji, first we will go to Puri, then to Mayapur, or first we will be in
No, I
Mayapur?
wanted to do both, but I'm thinking because of the pandemic not yet subsided, why take risk with, especially with my mother and all those things. So I'm skipping Puri for this time. In February, our Sadhguru Prabhu is getting married. So again, he will invite, and that time some of you may come. And his marriage place is most likely in Midnapur, which is close to Kharagpur. So I thought that time we can do a combined into Puri. Hmm. So that's why I'm not doing Puri this time, although I planned. Puri also, you can spend 3 full days. You can cover all the places. One day for Bhubaneswar, one day for this Remuna, visit Bhadrak and Remuna. So that also will take 5 days. So, so in Calcutta also there are some places to visit, especially Panihati, Prabhupada's birthplace, and some places. So that will take. So like this, you can think about it. So will you join us directly in Mayapur, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. I will join directly in Mayapur.
I don't know about Ram Prabhu. You were saying he would also like to join. Let us see. Hare Krishna. So please join us for the morning channel. So as the ISKCON Chennai is doing the uh, Patana Utsav, which means reading, emphasizing the reading of Prabhupada books, which we have already done during this year. So on October 17th, they will be having a cultural type of presentation. So I thought I will myself do because already I subjected you to so many programs. So make a presentation on what all we did in this nearly 555 days. What we read from, what we gathered from Prabhupada books, we'll try to present it as a short video. So Kartik month starts in October 20th, I think after 20th. That's one reason we are going in Kartik month. Usually in Kartik month also, ISKCON Mayapur is organizing a parikrama. They previously parikrama was done only during the before Gaur Purnima. Subsequent years, recent past, they have introduced parikrama during Kartik month also, which means it will be a guided tour to all the uh, even especially Radhanath Maharaj organizes this Navadip visit Mayapur visit in Kartik month. I think Padit Pawan Prabhu had Shraddha Mataji has been earlier. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much once again. Panchakalpatarapyas Chakrapashindu Devacha Ajitanam Pavadebhyo Vaishnavibhyo